Good morning or good afternoon, good evening to the Dr. BMS community from wherever you may be watching me from across the globe. This month of June is the Men's Mental Health Month. So it's a month of activities to create awareness, to commemorate, to help men to develop better mental health and to cope with mental health challenges. So at Dr. BMS and the Fountain of Hope Treatment Center, which is a mental health institution, we will have a series of activities, discussions, some in panel, about issues that affect the mental health of men positively or negatively. And so I just want to do this video as an introductory video to the series of videos that we'll post on this subject. In this video, I'll talk about the overarching issues that affect or predispose men to having mental health issues. And then in subsequent videos, we'll delve deeper into the individual mental health challenges that men face. So, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. What is mental health? In simple terms, layman terms, mental health is the well-being of your mind, your head, your thinking, your behavior, your relationships, your beliefs, how your spirit is, how you are feeling. When that is good, then you're in good mental health. When that is not good, for example, you are stressed, you are depressed, you are maybe angry, at war with something, someone, you are not at peace in your mind, then you have mental ill health or you don't have good mental health. And so, when we say this month is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, then why men? What is unique about men and mental health? To answer this question, I'll talk about the distinguishing characteristics of men as opposed to women or maybe children. The distinguishing characteristics of men that contribute to mental health, that matter when we're talking about mental health. And the main characteristics that define men and affect mental health are rooted in culture. Culture is the way of living of a people. So how men live their lives, wherever they are, whichever community, whichever tribe, whichever race, whichever continent, that is their culture. And that is perhaps the most important distinguishing characteristic of men that affect their mental health. And so in talking about this culture, we'll talk about the traditional roles, expectations that men have or societies have, cultures have of men, which may affect their mental health. And top on my list, on my mind, just thinking randomly, in most cultures, almost all of them, men are family and society leaders. I don't mean to say women are not leaders. The ladies watching this, don't bash me. But more often than not, the leadership roles are assumed by men at family level and community society level. That's why we've had, in recent times, a lot of push for affirmative action, getting women into leadership positions at all levels, because traditionally women have not assumed those, they have not played those roles. So men are family and society leaders. Men also are expected to be providers. They provide for their family. They provide nourishment, that is food and sustenance. They provide security. They provide shelter. So the provision role is a big role that cuts for men, that cuts across cultures. Men are also traditionally defenders of their families, of their communities. They are likely to be the first ones to go to war or to meet a challenge that threatens the existence or survival of their family, of their community, of their country. Men traditionally then will do the tough jobs. I've talked about defending, and so you will think about wars, for example, or any roles that involve danger, where the level of danger increases. The more it increases, the more you're likely to see men in those roles compared to women. And those are traditional expectations that cut across many cultures and continents. Men are fathers, obviously, yeah? So they are supposed to marry, sire children. But particularly this role of fathers has an angle that is important for mental health. That in most cultures, like African cultures where I come from as an African and other cultures, men are not expected to be childless. Men cannot have an inability to sire children. They can't be impotent. They can't be infertile. And in cases where they actually were, because they are human, they can be. But it's never accepted like it can happen. In cases where they were, it was arranged such that that would be covered up. It will be smoothed over. And usually a brother, a cousin, or someone will be asked to come and step in and sire children for you, but the children will be known to belong to you as a man, because you cannot say, I am unable to have children. It's even biblical. There is the story of Onan. You've heard of Onan, the sin of Onan, where Onan was commanded by God to sire children for his brother. But he went in and was doing some monkey games, spilling the seed, that's what they call it. And God was angry, he put him to death. So this thing has even a biblical, a religious angle. So men are fathers, and they are supposed, expected to be fathers who function biologically and also in the real upbringing, nurturing of their families. Therefore, when you look at these traditional expectations of men, then you see that they are expected to have certain personal attributes that support those expectations. They're supposed to be strong. They are supposed to be powerful. They can fight a lion. They can move mountains. They're supposed to be resourceful. They have answers to every challenge that comes. They must give a solution to every problem that the family or society has. They're supposed to be winners. They go to war and win. They vanquish their enemies. They defend their families and their societies whenever they are threatened, and they win. They are supposed to be stoic. They're not supposed to show little emotions of weakness, fear, crying, indecisiveness. And they're supposed to be these people who are macho, in control all the time. You can see even the way I'm talking as a man, I'm exhibiting those powers, roaring like a lion. So these characteristics are expected of men to support the expectations that society, the traditional roles that society give to men over many cultures. And these are important. I'm mentioning these ones because they are the ones that indeed have a bearing on the mental health of men. Because whenever any one of those fail, you start to see mental ill health or poor mental health in men. And so, what then are the challenges, the realities of today's world, which are challenging those traditional expectations of behavior, of personal attributes that I've mentioned, and in the end contribute to mental ill health for men? I'll start by repeating what I said earlier. These traditional beliefs, expectations placed on men, you could qualify them to be like myths, because not all are true. That men are supposed all the time to be winners, providers, to be tough. They can never be infertile. They're supposed to lead. They're supposed to have all answers for everything, to show no emotions. That's not reality. So in a way, it's a myth. So the myths that are placed on men are part of the challenges that men face, which can predispose them to ill health in today's society. And these myths are happening in a changing world, which is a second challenge. The world is changing. How it was 100 years, 200 years ago, it has changed. We started off as hunter-gatherers. Later on, civilizations changed. We became settled. We domesticated animals. We started planting crops of our own. And now we've moved to a place where we can even live without the hunting, the gathering, the growing of crops, the domesticating of animals, because commerce has come in. Technology has come in. Industrialization and mechanization have come in. Urban settlements have come in. So other people can plant the crops, rear the animals, and we can exchange the products, the farm products, with them through commerce, the business, the monetarization of society. So the world has changed, and this is a challenge because in some cases, those traditional expectations have not changed in tandem with the changing of the world today. And so we find ourselves as men being in a watershed area. We are conflicted. There is the past that expects you to be superhuman, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent like God. But there is a new world which brings a new reality that we are not able to do everything. Sometimes we feel pain. Sometimes we fail. We could be infertile and not be able to sire children. We could go to war and lose. We could be unable to provide for our children. We could be unable to defend ourselves and our families from some harm that may come our way. And these realities of today's world vis-a-vis the cultural norms, expectations of yesterday and part of today sometimes bring a conflict in the mind of men, which manifest as mental ill health. And to compound all these changes, we have had also an emergence of a stronger women, because remember, when we talk about men, subconsciously it contrasts from women. And so the modern world is bringing up a woman who is different from the woman of yesteryear. So the changing roles of women. Women now can also lead families. Women can be providers. Women can be defenders. Women can also even have children without getting married or needing a man necessarily. You have this in vitro fertilization, sperm banks, you have all these technologies that have come our way. And so men sometimes are finding themselves not only matching up to the expectations of the norms placed on men, the expectations of men by society, but sometimes falling below the performance of some women. And so this sometimes can put extra strain on a man, especially when they're in relationships, marriage, family, that perhaps the woman they are relating with is even better than them, okay? So this man may feel that not only is he inferior to another man next to him, but he's also feeling inferior to the woman in his life, or a woman he can see, and this can create a challenge that can produce mental illness. The role of women, the new emerging roles of women in the modern world. And then there's the globalization. We have global village nowadays. We talk about global village. We are able to communicate better, to interact, to travel because of technological advancements, mechanization, industrial revolution, and we are living in the communication era. So what happens in another culture, thousands of kilometers away from you, you get to know it. And so you compare over a wide range, a wider area. In the past, while you would compare to your brother, your cousin across the ridge, now as a man, you're comparing to another man in America, in Asia, and you're in Kenya like Dr. BMS is talking. And so this can create challenges that were not foreseen, and if the individual man or the group of men in a society are not prepared for these challenges, then this can contribute to mental ill health. So then what can we do about these things that I have discussed so that we enhance good mental health for men and we minimize ill mental health in men? I would summarize by saying this to my fellow men and also to women, to everyone who can pass this information around, that we accept, adopt, and adapt. AAA. So, we accept that the world has changed. The man of yesteryears may be looking physically the same as the man of today, but things have changed. Kwa ground mambo yameshift. Society now is more settled, is more industrialized, technology has come in, and a lot of changes have happened such that the traditional roles men used to have, going out hunting and gathering, being macho, strong, fighting wars, they have been minimized. And so men then need to forge a new awareness, accepting the changes that are there, study the changes that accept them, and know that, yes, my woman, my wife can work, she can earn more than me, she may have better ideas than me. We may go to a clinic and the doctor says I'm the one who is infertile, not my wife. And so things have changed. You accept and you adopt. Adopt meaning that there are some practices that are good. We are in an era of globalization, so you are able to know what is happening across the ridge and far off the continents. So the good things that are happening near and far, you adopt them. That means you take them and bring them to be yours. You own them. You bring them new things that you never used to do. You can now start doing them, even when they were not in your culture. You can allow your woman to lead, even your home. You can allow your woman to earn more than you do. I usually tell my wife, my lovely wife, that if one day she can just go out earning millions and millions, and she tells me there's only one condition, Dr. BMS, you stay at home, you tend after the house, you look after the children, you feed the chicken, I would gladly do it. I will gladly do it. I just tell her, baby, bring in the loot. I will stay home. I will be the house husband. Because I would have accepted and I adopt. Because I know these things are happening in some cultures. Men stay home and maybe the woman is working. So we adopt those. And then adapt. Adapt means that some of the things we have been doing in the past traditionally, you change them, you tweak them, you twist them a little bit so that they fit the context, the realities of today. We used to wage a lot of wars, and some societies, through initiation, men would have to move from one group to the next, and they were mainly based on warlike activities, soldiers. And today, because there are not so many wars to fight, and where fighting is required, we have a professional army that is trained, and maybe you as a man, you are not in the army, you can use that extra energy, vitality, to go and do other things that bring in economic gain, benefit for you and your family. So you adapt to the new realities and you prosper, you avoid mental health problems that may come when you remain rigid and feel you must be the man. And as we talk about accept, adopt, and adapt, it's important for men to remember, for the sake of their mental health, that they are human. They are not superhuman. Culture and society may have elevated expectations of you to a position where you feel like you have to be superhuman. But at the end of the day, you are human. So it is normal that humans sometimes feel sad, feel depressed, feel stressed. Humans can express emotions. You can cry, you can laugh, and you can go through the range of emotions that humans feel. It's also important that you seek out help. When you feel sad, when you feel depressed, seek out help. Come to the professionals, Dr. BMS and the others, and talk out your problems. Or sometimes just talking to a friend, a colleague who can offer a shoulder to lean on is important in safeguarding your mental health as a man, just as it is for women and other members of the human race. Men also can do well by avoiding maladaptive behavior. When you're faced with challenges that are threatening your mental health, how you think, how you feel inside, you're feeling stressed, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling you're not happy in your life, you can avoid things like abusing alcohol and drugs. Some of the men we have now are sinking into alcoholism. They're chewing mirror left, right, and center, smoking marijuana, and becoming junkies. And if you ask them, they'll say they are stressed, there are no jobs, their women have left them, they feel devalued. Yes, that may be true, but I think the coping mechanism of using these numbing drugs, alcohol and drugs of addiction, is a maladaptive response. And you do well by avoiding those and probably seeking out the counsel of people who can help you. We have professionals like Dr. BMS and many of my colleagues all over the world. We have got men in society who have overcome these challenges made something for themselves and they are successful, you know them around you, you can seek out counsel. We have got books, we have even got online classes. There are many things that you can do to help you out of this difficult situation that is threatening your mental health as a man, instead of just going to the bar, drinking, and then telling people it's because you are stressed. I hope that little discussion stimulates, it whets your appetite. What is coming later? As I said, this is a month of mental health awareness for men, men's mental health awareness, and we are going to have a lot of discussions following up on this, which will go deeper into the particular issues and stimulate your thinking so that we grow together the Dr. BMS way. So let's meet again in the next video, and remember to subscribe to our channel, to like our videos, and to share so that we grow together. See you next time. Bye-bye.